Okay, we're back for a look at the qualitative survey published in April 2012. Heads or school managers were interviewed face to face. They completed questionnaires, and a nutritionist from the School Foods Trust completed inventories of school food and drink on sale and observed the dining environment and catering facilities and related arrangements. I'm not going to go into details about how the interviews were done and the questionnaires. If you're interested, see the report. The SF and the School Food Trust said they will make the questionnaires available on request. So if you're interested, get in touch with them. If you read the report, it's worth having a read, because apart from anything else, the question route they used is included as an appendix. Question routes are very important. We talk about them quite a lot in public health and health promotion. So well worth having a look at. And there it is. There's a questioning route, the beginning of it. For now, let's move on to the results. It was a qualitative study. It was a small sample size. There's lots of detailed discussion of the results in the report, and you should read it if you're interested. The authors noted in the limitations section that the views reported were those of the participants and might not reflect those of all academies. The key findings are summarised in the report, so I'm just going to talk about a few of them here. Finance was a key factor in school menus, perhaps especially because all but two of the academies subsidised the meal service. Balancing the priorities of caterers, pupils and parents and school staff and the government was seen as a challenge by many. Senior staff were aware of welfare issues, including the impact of learning on hunger, but they knew little about the association between good nutrition and learning. Similarly, although most senior staff thought their food and drink provision met the food-based and nutrition-based standards, few were able to provide supporting evidence. This may be because in academies there is no requirement to monitor internally, and Ofsted don't do so externally. Staff also reported the main motivation of pupils at lunchtime was speed. Eating quickly, possibly to allow more time for socialisation. As mentioned, I'm not going to dwell too much on the quantitative results included in the report. It was a small sample, and these data may or may not be generalisable to all academies. Given that, we'll briefly note that most of the academies did well on issues such as salt reduction and free water, but did a bit less well on issues such as deep fried foods, healthier drinks and sweets. There was a related study, the telephone study, published in May 2012, which involved telephone interviews of 100 academies in England, so a much bigger sample. Head teachers, finance directors and catering managers were asked to describe their catering arrangements and priorities for food and drink provision. Again, I'm not going to get details about the sampling method. Read the report if you're interested. It can be found on the School Food Trust website as usual. Respondents were asked about their views on a number of issues related to school catering. I've done a many eyes visualisation of these data, which can be found in this link. And there it is. This one question they're asked: do you think that school food to a good nutritional standards is an unnecessary burden on schools and all children should bring a packed meal? 93% strongly disagreed with that. If we go to the other end, if you look at whether it's essential that child's education both to reinforce learning about healthy lifestyles and to support good health, again 79% strongly agreed. I've linked this many hours visualisation, so have a look at it yourselves if you're interested. As ever, I would encourage students to consider dynamic ways of presenting data in an appropriate fashion, such as many eyes. Just to summarise, respondents were asked to say if they agreed or disagreed with a range of statements about school catering. Just under a third either slightly agreed or strongly agreed that school catering was a burden, but one that needed to provide as a duty of care. 18% thought it was mainly a commercial service, and as noted earlier, all of the respondents agreed that school catering was an important part of a child's education. Okay, moving on to the type of food provided by academy schools. Just to clarify the types of schools here: Converters are those developed from state schools. Sponsors-led are generally new schools. 60% of them provided confectionery and chocolate, 26% crisps and savoury snacks, just over half cereal bars, 83% low juice fruit drinks, and 8% fizzy and energy drinks. These items are typically high in fat, sugar or salt, and all are prohibited by the by the school food standards which apply to other schools in England. The food and drink items prohibited by the standards were typically available in the dining room and weren't restricted to vending machines or to pupils in the sixth form. So what are the difference? 10% of schools said explicitly they were either unwilling or unable to follow the standards. 1/3 thought the standards were too restrictive, or that there needed to be an element of flexibility. Almost 1/3 of academies said that providing school food in schools is a burden, and almost 1/5 opined that food in schools is mainly a commercial service. The report notes that in the short term, academies have not been required to follow the school food standards. Less healthy foods that were restricted from secondary schools are now regularly finding their way back into the dining room. This is of deep concern as it directly undermines the healthy eating messages that the standards were intended to support. Okay, so that was quite a bit shorter than I thought it would be actually. So just to conclude, over to you Mr. Gove, and that's all. Thanks for listening.